What's going on, everybody? It's Joey B here. It's about 8:30 p.m. It's the last day of 2014, and I just wrapped up with my final workout of the year. And before I made my wrap-up video of the year 2014, I wanted to work out to just clear my thoughts and get rid of that, negative energy or some stress that I was still holding on to. With that being said, the year 2014 was dedicated to fear, failure, and focus. And at the beginning of every year since 2011, I've made a video the first day of the year, and on that day, I set the intention for the entire year. And every single year that I set those intentions, that theme just carries through the entire year. And this year being the year of fear, failure, focus, it was a lot more difficult than I had anticipated. Everything I have learned the past 3 years, from personal development to spiritual development to physical development to emotional development, like all these things that I was learning about, I really had to not only continue to learn about them this year, but they got put to the test time and time again. And I made a little list right here of things that I kind of wanted to talk about before I set the intention for next year. And the reason I share these things, just to kind of let everyone know, if you've never kind of seen my videos or are recently new to OPT or myself, kind of just now interacting with me, is I want to be vulnerable to people. The more vulnerable you are, the more power you have to connect with somebody, the more transparent you are. So the more likeness between people can be seen, the more you can share, the more you can connect. And that's where true transformation can happen. So I'm like an open book. I really am. I don't really hide any aspects of my life. If you come into OPT, you know that. If you know me, you know that. I share not only my failures, but my successes, my ups, my downs, whatever it may be, in hopes that somebody can learn something. Somebody can grow. Somebody can maybe learn from my mistakes and use them to better their life. So, year of fear, failure, and focus. I failed on so many levels in this year, from a business standpoint to friendships, to family members, to personal relationships. Some of them were broken, some of them were lost. Some people that I thought we were going to be like this, just like family for the rest of my life, are no longer in my life. Some of these people good, some of these are bad, but failure nonetheless. And when you experience failure in relationships, whether it be business, work, personal, spiritual, it weighs really heavy on the heart. And as I move forward in this year, and certain things start happening and falling apart, and people change or people make different transitions, what you personally go through is you start to question everything that you're doing, who you are, what you're up to, like where did you falter, why did this happen, and you start blaming yourself, and what happens is that totally weighs on your mentality. And you start to question things, and all of a sudden fear starts to keep you stuck. You lose focus. You don't have as much clarity as you once did, because wait, what's going on? Why is this happening? And that happened in all relationships in my life this year, which was very stressful, very eye-opening, right? When it comes to fear, there was a lot of places where I took action, but then there was a lot of places when I experienced failure that I shut down. I backed up. I let fear suffocate me. And then I stopped following my heart. I stopped listening to my heart, and I started questioning more and more things, which led me to have more and more failure. And when that happens, you lose focus. Nothing seems to be as clear as it once was, so you stay again. And that cycle of not taking action, or you're afraid of failure, and then fear suffocates you, and then you don't know what to do, so you feel so confused and lost, and you just keep doing this. And I found myself in these cycles throughout the year which was really weird because I had to really focus for me to shake and break those cycles, snap out of them. And it was, man, you know, and all these tools that I have equipped for the past 3 years, you know, I thought this year was going to be a breeze. I thought, okay, fear, failure, focus. I got this. And I felt like I had more failure than ever. I had little successes I've ever had. And some areas I wasn't fearful, but others I was very fearful in. And it was very hard for me to maintain focus for long periods of time, which was very frustrating, right? You know, when it comes to failure, there's, you know, lost opportunities, especially with OPT, right? We're at a place where I really want OPT to go to the next level. I really want it to grow. What I do here, what we stand for, I just believe in it so much. And when certain things don't go our way or certain opportunities don't happen, I get so mad. I get so frustrated. I get so angry. And then again, I question, why? It's me. It's not working. And then that cycle starts all over again. And this time around, all these things were so much more powerful, right? They seemed to hit me so much more powerful. And I felt like I had to work even harder to like climb out of these thought patterns, right? Thoughts become your actions, actions become your habits, habits become your character. So it was like constant. I felt like I was battling in and out of these fears and failures and really trying to focus through those. It was a lot. It just was crazy, right? Fear, failure, focus. I'm like, what the freak? But some of the successes that I had this year came in ways that I didn't really realize until I sat back and reflect. You know, I got to co-lead a trip to White Earth Indian Reservation, where I'm a co-leader for working to be a leader with this organization called Global Citizens Network, the organization I went to Peru with, which was an amazing experience, interacting with the Anishinaabe Indians, learning about their culture, the way they live, and being a leader in that process was freaking awesome. And this year, I think the best thing that happened to me this year, two significant things. One was I got to go to Peru again. I got to go back to the place that I went the first time, to the community in Peru. And this time around, I got to bring 3 individuals that I've been training for 2 or 3 years. They're now in college, but I got to bring them with me. And we had to fundraise $9,000 in 5 weeks in order for this trip to happen. And I just knew in my heart I needed to be there. For whatever reason, something was pulling me there. So got our group together, organized, and just fundraising after fundraising after fundraiser, and we made it. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had, because I got to bring my world, right? OPT, my philosophies, whatever it may, I got to bring my world to a whole nother part of my life, a whole nother world of my life. So like 2 of my worlds collided. And it was so beautiful. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. And looking back on that, the amount of focus it had to take for that to happen was incredible. And hats off to Adria, Nick, and Andrew for joining me along the ride. And then after that, when I was there, I met a family who actually introduced me to this program called the Hoffman Process, which changed my life. Completely changed my life in ways that I never thought were possible. And you know, talk about fear, failure, focus, these things that I went through and the things that I addressed, and the darkest of darkest spaces I went to within my spirit, within my heart, within my consciousness, and came out with a whole new set of tools. And it was very, wow, I mean, just, it's really hard for me to put into words what I went through there. And coming now to the last day of 2014, I look back on this year, and it was like, at times I felt like I was just like sliding down this rock, right? I'm like, oh, like don't fall. And I had to like lunge back up and hold on. You know, so many times throughout the year I wanted to quit. So many times throughout the year I just wanted to give up. And I constantly had to go back and find my tools. I had to, dig in my books and dig in my notes and dig in my writings. And here we are now at the end of year 2014, and I got exactly what I wanted out of this year. I addressed fears. I was suffocated by my fears. I conquered some of my fears. I had personal failure, business failure, emotional failure, spiritual failure, relationships failure, family failure. Like any type of failure you can imagine I experienced this year. And then focus. At times I was very focused, and then at times I felt like I had never been more unfocused. And I'm really glad 2014 is over because it was a hard year on all levels. I'm very grateful for what I went through this past year and the things that I've learned, the insight that I have, the knowledge that I've gained. But it definitely was a tough year. And I'm really excited to share with you guys what 2015 is going to be about. I want to say thank you guys for this year, for everyone that is at OPT, that has stuck with OPT, that has remained in contact with me, who still believes in us. I'm sending you guys love, light, good energy. I love you guys to death, and I will see you all in 2015.